Coach Brian again with Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. And today I'm going to share something with you that I like to do. And this is me going over my lesson plan. I have kickboxing classes I put on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so what I like to do is walk out or jog out somewhere and work out the lesson plan. And so here, what I'm thinking about is when I throw the jab in the right, the meat from my shoulder is touching my cheek. So the meat of the shoulder is rolling over and touching the cheek for my strikes. Shoulder to cheek. And if you don't feel the shoulder on your cheek, you're doing it wrong. If you don't feel the shoulder on the cheek, slow down and figure it out. And then speed up later on. Shoulder and cheek, shoulder and cheek. And for that right cross, or to bring that any cross, so even if you do the left cross, you're bringing that foot forward. Here I'm talking about how kickboxing is good for both directions, or self-defense. So in self-defense, you may have more than one person on you, and you can kickbox from both sides. So that is one way that kickboxing is good for you, or good for self-defense, in my opinion. I'm just showing you kicks from those two stances. Orthodox and unorthodox. More kicks, like I can kick from there and I can kick from there, right? So just focusing on though we won't be focusing on the self-defense aspect of this, really, we just understand that if we have a singular opponent, it doesn't matter which leg is forward, we'll be able to deliver our strike with precision. Meets touching shoulder. Even if I go fast, bam, meets touching shoulder, or meets touching chin. There we go. Breathing, and then so I'm pausing there because it's on the 2-2. Meet, bang bang, meet, like there you go. So that's what we're going to have them looking at in class. If it takes getting people to slow down to feel it, that's what we're going to do. And keeping our center of balance as well. Like a lot of these things, we can overextend ourselves. Like if we're throwing the overhand right, when I throw that overhand right, I want to come down the center line. And it can be a little, like you can cut across the center line a little bit, but you want to try and stay close to the center line. And that way you're not throwing yourself off balance when you're throwing this strike. So center line, and you just see me feeling it there, and that's the jab, overhand right, jab, meets touching, overhand right, and it's the same. The meets touching on the other same. Yep. And again, I believe in ambidexterity, so we're going to work on it on the other side. Not just in case of multiple attackers, but even if there's a singular guy, we are going to be able to throw that overhand. It'll be overhand left this time. Pop in the jab, overhand left. And since this is awkward for us, it's okay to go slower. And you can see I've switched a little bit there. Like I was doing a close overhand right, and now I'm working on a far overhand right, and then checking my balance. The far overhand right, you could see from people like Chuck Liddell or Nina Munez, And you can throw the same overhand right from close, and you can look at James Toney to see how he would throw an overhand right in close. Here I'm just like working over, like, yeah, we have our basic stuff that we learn, right? We have like the lead foot forward first, the back step pivot. If you're going right, you step with your right foot first. If you go left, you step with your left foot first. We all know those basic things. Super basic. So we've got our kickboxing stance, we've got our balance, and we're going to try the L step, which looks like a step out of, say, karate or something like that. But it really is just a simple, easy way to change directions quickly, and still remembering that we can move in both directions with this L step, or all directions with this L step. And we can do the same thing with both legs. You can L step with the left, or you can L step with the right. You can come forward, you go sideways, you can go backwards. There's more to this one that we're going to talk about, but I'm going to go over that with my students a little more. It's just, if you can imagine, you put an opponent in front of a person and have the opponent step a certain way, like where they're supposed to step. So like I would step to my outside right, or to my opponent's outside right there. And then if you just switch your stance, that will change the nature of the engagement. Whereas if I step to the outside of that lead leg, I have an advantage. But if a person can just, with a simple movement, put themselves in a better position. This is a good advancing step too. This is crescent step. And this is just advancing or retreating while keeping your guard up, while having your legs and hands ready, attack or defense. So now we're getting into what I call it not so fancy footwork. It's actually pretty simple, and you're just going to turn your lead foot in. You're going to bring that back foot across and spin around, and you're going to end up in kickboxing stance again. And you can do it both ways. You can go either way. You can even begin by looking the other way. So yes, spinning elbows with this little bit of footwork. Turn it in, bring it through, bring the elbow through. We're going to be able eventually to throw some spinning elbows. We're not going to go too hard on that right now. We're going to work on the movement and tying it together and putting ourselves in position to throw some of these things. But it's just, you gotta hook people, give them something to look forward to, right? So show them some flashy stuff or some flashy looking stuff, and then show them how to get there step by step. So now I'm turning the foot the other way. I'm turning the foot in. The lead foot is turning in. And so not only can I do the movement, but with that same beginning, or out, I'm turning it out, with that same beginning step, I can engage it, I can throw a kick. So there's two setups. I can kick or I can do the movement. And it's all from that. And then, then I get a little trying to be fancy there where I do the initial movement twice and throw two different things. And here's me looking at that. How that first setup sets up that kick. So we're also going to look at jab. So we're going to look at changing levels with the jab. When we throw that lower jab, we're not reaching our chin out. We're dropping our whole body into the jab, and the meat of the shoulder is still touching the chin. Being able to change. So like if I hit the boom, if I hit that body, I can also change it up. Body, head. Or head, body, depending on how you want to do it. Or body, body. And making each one of them count. So like that front foot lands at the same time as the strike in order to give the strike some more oomph. To really have all of the force going into the strike. I like to keep it playful and find new things to look at and to work on and feel out. And I seen this stretch in a Kung Fu exercise book from the 70s. And so I wanted to try it out. And I like it a lot. It really stretches out my hips, the whole chain. Again, all the way up to the fingertips. So from like my hip all the way up to my fingertips and then down my buttocks, through my thighs, my calves, down into my feet. And if I rest that left elbow in my hip and let just the weight kind of sag down into that, really gives me a lot of extra stretch. So again, I encourage you to just stay playful, find new things to do. This is kind of a challenge. The balance is harder than usual. The stretch is harder than usual, but feels pretty good.